Hello everyone, this is Angela here, and today I'm going to be talking about the narcissistic personality disorder and why it is such a struggle for children of a narcissistic parent to go no contact and remain no contact. And I just want to share with everybody what my personal struggle is with regard to remaining no contact with my abuser, who was my narcissistic mother. You see, it goes like this. Society has this perception and this expectation of the way a mother is supposed to be. We see it in the animal world where you see the mother cat being very tender with her kittens and the mother dog being tender with her puppies and other animals, the way they show nurturing and love to the offspring. And that's supposed to be something that is natural to any mother. But for a narcissistic mother, there is this personality disorder, this mental illness, which causes all of this abuse, okay? And all of us children of narcissistic parents understand this, you know, boys as well as girls, okay? Each person in the narcissistic personality disorders family plays a unique and dysfunctional role in the family dynamic, as we all know from watching, you know, the videos of survivors, of mental health professionals, etc., as everybody tells their stories. And what makes it so hard is, and this is the hardest thing for me personally, okay, when you would meet an acquaintance and the acquaintance doesn't understand why you are no contact with your mother. The acquaintance mistakenly believes that they can, you know, try to reconcile the relationship between you and your abuser, because they feel that it's not healthy and it's not normal for a child to be estranged from the mother, and that forgiveness and reconciliation is warranted in order to maintain healthy relationships, etc. They just don't get it. They don't understand. They don't understand why we are no contact. The reason why we are no contact is not to punish our abuser, but it is because we can't have a healthy relationship with the abuser. The relationship is toxic, it's dysfunctional, and what it does is it deteriorates your mental health. And, you know, these people, without knowing it, too often the time become flying monkeys or enablers for a narcissist, because the narcissist is extremely manipulative. They are quite good at twisting facts and circumstances to make someone who doesn't understand what's going on, the reality of it, they make it look like, oh, my daughter just doesn't want to talk to me, and I've done so much for my daughter, and I don't understand why she's doing this to me, and all the gaslighting, reframing, and all the nonsense that they do in order to get this person as narcissist supply, and to get that person to reach out to you, okay, and get you sucked back into the mirror. And, you know, I'm seeing this, you know, I'm seeing other videos where some people are talking about this, and then also got someone comment to me for help because they were struggling with this, and I'm not mentioning names, you know. I'm just out here trying to explain how I cope with it, how my therapist helped me to cope with it, okay? The flying monkey that I would consider to be the enabler at the present time is my brother. He was the only one who didn't get it. He did not want to discuss the issues. He felt that my mother had bipolar disorder, that this wasn't her fault, you know, she shouldn't be held accountable, you know, and he believes that there's some type of emotional connection with the narcissistic mother, and there is not. Okay, there is not. It's like I'm not going to explain, you know, my relationship with my mother, because I've done that in other videos, okay? And it was always, you know, me feeling guilty due to, you know, religion, you know, whether Christianity teaches us to be forgiving and loving, and we should just forego old injuries and start over. But you can't. You can't with a narcissist. You just simply cannot. The only way to maintain a healthy mental stable life for yourself is to go no contact. Otherwise, you know, for me personally, I mean, I had suffered from depression for many years. I just was very overwhelmed with sadness, amongst other things that go along with having an abusive and neglectful mother. And, you know, so the therapist, I would sit there and I would talk about, you know, the issues with my therapist. And my therapist was like, you know, why do you listen to this? Why do you put up with this? Why do you do this? And may I suggest to everyone who has to deal with somebody who just doesn't understand narcissism, who doesn't understand why you're in no contact, you do not owe that person an explanation, okay? If you are very close to that person, let's say you've developed a very strong bond with this person, and then this person happens to meet your narcissist, your abuser. For some odd reason, you know, the narcissist comes into the picture, and the narcissist starts manipulating that person. Basically, what you do is you just refuse to talk about it. Refuse to talk about the relationship. You know, try to divert the subject to something else. If you're on the phone with this person is, you know, gently trying to gear towards a reconciliation, cut the conversation short. Just say, listen, you know, I got somebody at my door, I gotta go. I have to go to the bathroom, you know, anything to get off the phone. Don't talk about it. Don't get defensive. Don't try to explain yourself to people, because people just seem to not understand. If you absolutely have to provide an explanation to someone as to why you're in no contact, you, first of all, you say like this, you say, I love and respect my mother or my father, whoever, because they gave me life, and that will never change. I always, you know, respect my parents like that. It's just that I can't have them in my life because there's mental illness there, and, you know, it's very difficult to explain, and it's best to go no contact. And it's not a form of punishment. I'm not trying to punish my mother for something, for some grudge or something like that, you know. And if you really need to, this is in when you absolutely have to provide an explanation, okay? And then maybe you can just sit down and have a long conversation and explain what NPD is, you know, have that person watch some YouTube videos on survivors or mental health professionals so that they can grasp the reality of what narcissism is, what this disorder is, because it is highly toxic and it is detrimental to everybody who's in this dysfunctional family. You know, not every mother was born to be June Cleaver. You know, not every mother was that perfect mom that you see on TV, you know, and that's the bad thing about Hollywood. Hollywood projects this image of the loving family, everybody's happy, the movies always have a happy ending, and there are no happy endings with a narcissist. You know, there's no happy endings, there's no light at the end of the tunnel as to a relationship being reconciled. It's just not possible. Just not possible, because the narcissist is never going to be able to look at themselves to change. They do not change. I don't know how many people have said narcissists do not change. I am definitely a witness to that narcissists do not change. Other survivors are out here telling their stories, and they're all saying the same thing. Narcissists do not change. Dr. Judith Orloff, she does a video on narcissists, like very brief video talking about her book, Emotional Freedom, and she talks about how to deal with a narcissist, and she says, her exact words, narcissists do not change, okay? So when you're dealing with a narcissist, you have to lower your expectations of them. I always will mourn the loss that I never had a loving mother, a mother that could hold me in my arms, a mother that would give me the bridal shower, the baby shower, the mother that was there for me for my school events, the mother that, you know, was there when she wasn't there to cook a home-cooked meal or provide for me, because my mother was the ignoring type narcissist. She ignored every need that all of her children needed because that's who she was. That's, you know, that's one type of narcissist. A lot of times, you know, when narcissism is discussed, okay, and this is another issue that was hard for me to grasp, was there was so much discussion about the overt narcissist that the covert ignoring narcissist, there isn't a whole lot out there to explain the personality disorder of the ignoring narcissistic mother. And that's what took me a long time, many years to figure out that my mother was a narcissist, because every time when I would, you know, look into it, you know, when I was researching about narcissism, I wasn't grasping it, because I would always see the symptoms of the grandiose overt narcissist. And so it took a long time, a lot of mental health treatment, and, you know, I went through all the emotions, all the anger, you know, dealing with my siblings, and, you know, it's still really bad, the recovery from the narcissistic abuse, because my siblings have not handled it in the same way that I have handled it. You know, my sister Jerry, she doesn't have the cognitive ability to grasp it, so she kind of, you know, doesn't understand, and basically there's no explanation that I have to provide to her. My youngest sister, who ran away, we can't even discuss it. Okay, it's just like an unwritten language. We just do not talk about our abuser. It's just too painful for her. She's gone no contact now since July 2009. She's been no contact. She married, moved out of state, and she doesn't want to talk about it anymore. She stuffs her emotions, and she deals with it in her own way. And I don't try to get her to talk about things that she can't handle. My brother did his thing, and so that's where we all are. Everybody, you know, is at a different point in their life. And, you know, as far as my kids go, my kids were infected with it, you know, because I couldn't be there to be the mother that they needed me to be for them, because I was too busy still caught up in the abuse and serving all my mother's needs even as an adult. It's like I felt like I was obligated to do all the things for my mother that my grandmother did for her. You know, it's like she just had this personality where it's all about me and everybody has to do for me what I want, when I want, and if you don't do it, then it's not going to get done. And that's it. And I felt like I had to step up to the plate until I realized in therapy, like when the therapist was like, you know, you don't have to be crapped on like this. And you don't have to be crapped on. None of you abuse victims deserve to be crapped on over and over and over again with your narcissistic abuser. So what I'm trying to say is that you need to take care of yourselves. You need to focus on healing, your healing journey. Okay? You have to focus on setting boundaries with people that you still may be in contact with, but they're in contact with your abusers. You have to set safe boundaries to where, you know, they can't suck you back in. Because once they get you sucked back in, that's all it takes is one time, and you're right back where you started, down that rabbit hole of narcissistic abuse, and it'll never change. It'll never change. Time change, narcissists do not change. The only change that happens to them is they grow old or they die. You know, that's the only change that happens with narcissists. And, you know, they become empty, soulless creatures as time passes, and they do not get better. They do not get better. It's not a disorder to where it changes. As a matter of fact, it gets worse as they get older. So with that said, you know, I just wanted to get the message out here on how I coped with dealing with people that just don't understand, you know. Basically, another thing that I want to say, don't talk about your mothers. The less you talk about her, the better off that you are. I'm talking about in real life, you know, when people ask questions with regard to certain events in life, like Mother's Day, Christmas, Easter, all kinds of holidays, you know, where people start asking questions of what are you doing with your mom or whatever like that. Even if you have to make up a story and lie and say, oh, I'm going over so-and-so's house, oh, my mother's got other plans. You know, if you don't know this person, who cares? You know, if it's just somebody that you work with and you don't want that person to know your business about why you're estranged with your mother, make something up. You don't owe this person an explanation. Just don't make the lie so outrageous where it's not believable. But you could just say, oh, you know, I plan on, I invited my mother over for dinner, but she made plans to go to my brother's house or something. Make up a story. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay, they don't have to know that you don't talk to your abuser. It's none of their business. So, in other words, take care of yourself. Be good to yourself. Focus on healing. Focus on the loved ones. And move on from this, because that's the best that you can do for you. Thank you for watching my video.